there, dear rideshare drivers, especially those in California, completely called this one on the money. I said before the 1st of January, Uber was going to sue the state of California. Why? Because they want to force it into the court. They want to buy time. They do not want to abide by this new law. Completely and utterly called this 2 weeks ago when I said, mark my words, before the year is up, Uber is going to strike and sue. And here it is, December the 30th. They filed in court today. I knew it. This is how this goes down, my friends. This is how it goes down, right? So you have this AB5 law kicks into effect after midnight tomorrow, right? They hustle and buy the maximum amount of time, file it right at the end of the year. I absolutely called this one 2 weeks ago and said they are going to sue California. There it is. There it is. So what happens now, right? What happens now? And again, I said it 2 weeks ago. Now, they're trying to buy time. They're trying to fight this. They can't win this based on landmark rulings already, right? In Supreme Court, they cannot win this. They've made a ton of promises on about all those changes we would see, right? Which was a big fat lie. They said, oh, you'll have the ability to choose, reject which areas you want to go. That was all a fluffy promise, because if it was their intention, listen up, folks, if it was their intention to say, hey, we're going to abide, we're going to do this, we're going to give you this flexibility, we're going to give you the choice to accept and decline, right? Then that means they would start to become compliant with the California law. But no, they go against their word in typical fashion. We know it, right? We know Uber very, very well. They go against their word in typical fashion and try to now bypass those changes, bypass those promises by filing a lawsuit in California and sue California. And then I called it exactly go back 2 weeks ago. I said they're going to sue by the time the year is over, right? There it is. What happens now? So now, as it says, Uber Technologies Incorporated and Postmates, I'm surprised Lyft didn't sue today, but I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna say tomorrow, Tuesday, the courts are going to be open, right? And I could really see Lyft filing tomorrow. I could. I would not be surprised. I'll do a follow-up video, but I will not be surprised if Lyft follows in the exact footsteps. Their legal team files their papers tomorrow, last day of 2019. Now they buy time. Now they fight the state of California. State of California is not going to take this lightly, right? They basically said, hey, AB5 passed. You have the chances to be compliant with our rulings come January the 1st, and now you sue us. You think that California is going to be friendly to them now? No, they're going to bring out all the big guns, all the big attorneys, right? In their back pockets, they have the Supreme Court ruling, right? My guess is that they're going to win this round, and then it's going to go to appeals, right? So Uber and Postmates and Lyft are going to buy even more time, right? So the one thing they don't want to do is come in compliance with this new law. Although 2 weeks ago they said we will abide and start doing all these changes. That was a big, fat, legal lie again by Tony West. Mark my words, read my lips. A big, fat, legal lie. Was not their intentions to abide by the change and make those changes. They quietly, as I called it 2 weeks ago, said, let's sue California. Now the battle, now the 15-round boxing fight begins. And here is where it gets interesting. And this, I've also predicted this, right? Now you get to write this new gig worker law. This is your golden chance gig worker companies and California. This is your golden chance, right, to negotiate an out-of-court settlement, right? So, hey, we're not going to exactly abide by the way you, state of California, want it, right? This is how we would like to do it, same old way. That'll be slapped down based on past rulings. California says, okay, if you want to proceed, you're going to have to pay up a bit. Otherwise, we're going to shut you down, right? If you don't want to become compliant in California, we'll shut you down. You are not going to get your licensing. That is the mighty sword, right? The golden bullet that California holds over these guys. Sorry, I'm going to revoke your licenses because you know that AB5 is set in stone, right? And you're not complying. But the state of California saw this coming, right? And this is the golden opportunity now to what I call write the new gig worker laws. Flexibility. You can choose whichever company you want to. You can drive whenever you want to. You will get better pay. You will get better conditions. You will have a voice. You will have benefits, etc. Right? I'm going to tell you right now, they are going to rewrite the law together, right? And Uber and Postmates and Lyft will try and keep this in courts as long as possible, right? They say Uber Technologies and Postmates sued the state of California, alleging that a labor rights law set to go into effect this week is unconstitutional. And however, they notified all these drivers, including myself and all the other drivers, remember, change is coming, right? Change is coming. These are the changes that will take effect. And I made a video and said, no, we are not happy if just the drivers in California get those changes. Those changes have to come into effect for all drivers in the United States, right? You should have the ability to choose and decline wherever you wish, right? Whenever you wish. You should be able to decide whenever you want to drive, and you should actually be able to decide your rates because they say you are truly independent, and a truly independent contractor can make their own rates, right? So this is going to get very, very interesting. I see a fight going on here. I see this going to the appeals court, and if Uber and Lyft and Postmates lose, they have to pay everything retroactively, right, from January the 1st onwards, right? Because they know the AB5 law is in effect, right? And now they still want to fight. It's very, very interesting how these people operate. But if you've done big deals and you know how these guys play, this was a chess move on their behalf to buy time. But California will come in swinging, right? And now you have that ability to rewrite a new gig law, right? So my prediction always was, you're not going to become a hardcore employee working hour to hour, shift to shift. No, right? I'm not really for that. What I'm looking for, and this is what I've been pushing and pushing and pushing. This is why I went to Sacramento a few times. This is why I went to San Francisco. This is why I went into that Senate House there, talking to the people, pushing, talking to even outside politicians, getting input from the people in San Diego, from Lorenzo Gonzalez, her team, speaking to a good senator friend of mine in Texas. How does this all go down? Bottom line is, this year, my friends, was coming on the second last day of 2019. Where is Lyft? I say they're there tomorrow. So the lawsuit filed Monday in Los Angeles federal court is a preemptive strike against the state's landmark measure designed to ensure gig workers receive employment protections. That was supposed to kick in on January the 1st, right? Uber and Postmates argue the legislative process around California's Assembly 5 unfairly targeted gig economy, unfairly targeted us. F you, my friends. You knew the shit was coming because of your bad treatment. Uber and Postmates argue the legislative process around California Assembly Bill 5 unfairly targeted gig economy companies while favoring other industries, and that the law will threaten workers' flexibility. Wow. If that's your legal argument, I'm telling you right now, you don't have a leg to stand on, right? But if California wants to give in a little bit and say, hey, okay, we'll go to appeals court, right? Uber is not going to go to appeals court thinking they're going to win this in appeals court. Lyft is not going to go all the way to appeals court thinking they will win this in appeals court, because they will lose. So that is the moment for California and these companies to sit down and rewrite the law. California wants to see money. Uber and Lyft don't want to pay all that money. They know they're going to have to meet California somewhere in the middle. And I've been saying this month after month after month. And to those naysayers who said, I did not know my shit, or I'm talking out my backside, here it is, buddy. Word for word, date, month, everything on the money, folks. So the passage of AB5, which takes effect Wednesday, the 1st, has set in motion a bitter dispute about the rights of Uber drivers, food couriers, and other people who derive their income from apps made in Silicon Valley working as independent contractors. Uber and Postmates say it's arbitrary that direct salespeople, travel agents, grant writers, construction truck drivers, commercial fishermen, and others are exempted from the law. There is no rhyme or reason to these nonsensical exemptions, right? Listen here, Uber. There's exemptions for these individuals because they operate in a whole different fashion than you do, right? So to come and whine and say we're getting the unfair treatment now and that we've been treated as an outsider, this is unfair. That's the best you can do? Come on. There is no rhyme or reason to these nonsensical exemptions, they say, and some are so ill-defined or entirely undefined that it is impossible to discern what they include or exclude according to the complaint. Guess what? There was already a Supreme Court ruling, right? And there's already a bill in place. So your legal standing, this is your complaint, Uber, you don't want to go to appeals court. You're going to get slapped down, and then you're going to try and defend it and go to appeals court, risking everything, risking paying $600 million extra per year. You're not going to do that. Uber's not going to do that. They're going to come to the table and they're going to negotiate. The impact of AB5 and the backlash against it extends beyond the technology industry. Two organizations representing freelance journalists brought a legal challenge this month saying the law restricts free speech and the news media by effectively limiting the number of articles a contract journalist can write for the same publication each year. The trucking industry, in its own lawsuit, says the measure would make it impractical, if not impossible, to use contractors for services across state lines. But tech companies have far more at stake financially if they are forced to provide overtime pay, healthcare, and other benefits, which they don't want to pay to the armies of contract laborers they rely on to drive customers around and deliver food. With their business models threatened, DoorDash, Lyft, Uber have said they'll spend a combined $90 million on a campaign asking California voters to overturn the law in the next election. Lyft and Uber have each committed to turning a profit by the end of 2021, right? Sorry, you're not going to turn a profit by 2021 unless you get this sorted out right away. A promise that could be unattainable, I just said it, if they're forced to reclassify workers in their home state. The labor issue looms as a risk for Postmates as it heads toward a planned initial public offering. The food delivery company agreed to pay about $11.5 million to settle misclassification claims brought by couriers in California. In Monday's complaint, Uber, Postmates, and one driver from each company, who are also plaintiffs. So the companies and one driver, they found one a-hole, right? One a-hole driver from both companies that are part of the plaintiffs. So listen to this. The lawsuit, the plaintiffs are Uber, Postmates, a driver for Postmates, and a driver for Uber. Give us that name. Which arsehole sold out? Which idiot tried to sell us out, right? I hope we get his name. It's very easy to get his name. I'm going to look into the filing and I'm going to find the guy's name, right? Because you're a rotten scoundrel. You're trying to sell out all your brothers and sisters. So they want the judge to block AB5 from being implemented. They allege that the law violates guarantees of equal protection afforded by both the US Constitution and the California Constitution. The companies take particular aim at the sponsor of the bill, Lorena Gonzalez. I've met with her. She's a marvelous lady. And I also said to their team, to their media team, is that they're not going to get everything that they want in the AB5. And I think they know that, right? They know they're pushing for something better, right? They're pushing for some, what's Mark Fowdy? What did you say? I can't, unfortunately, let that language go through. Sorry, buddy. Joey Lovato in the house, Jaya Parnell in the house, Music Alone in the house, Uber in the house, Mark Fowdy in the house, Timothy Newell in the house, right? This is interesting, folks, and I'm going to leave the link underneath there, but literally called it this month and called the middle of the month happenings, the changes months and months ago. So really been spot on my predictions when it comes to what the steps are and what's going to be happening here. And I said they will file this by year's end. Here we've got it, right? The companies take particular aim at the sponsor of the bill, Lorena Gonzalez, who they say has spoken forcefully about targeting gig economy firms. In a November tweet, Gonzalez, a Democrat from San Diego, urged 4 of the state's biggest cities to pursue court orders to enforce the law as soon as it takes effect. Right? So Uber and Lyft and these companies don't want to abide, right? They're not paying a single cent in taxes, not a single cent, like Amazon. Blows me away that both Democrats and Republicans can't get tax dollars from these companies. Blows me away. You know, what laws are Democrats and Republicans putting in place to protect these billionaires? I'm sorry, right? Our economy should be boosted by Amazon tax dollars paid into the system, not allowing, this was Democrats and Republicans alike, how dare you allow all these big shots, many of them in California, to go and register overseas in Ireland, Guernsey, all of these isles to protect your patents so that you don't have to pay money in the United States. But this is where you make your gravy. This is where you get your steak and potatoes, right, in the United States from US buyers. I am guilty too. I buy a lot on Amazon. But out of all my orders, has Amazon paid a cent? Nothing. Has Uber paid a cent? Nothing. Has Lyft paid a cent? Nothing. Has Postmates paid a cent? Nothing. Has DoorDash paid a cent? Nothing. And Apple and all these other guys, Google, with all their effing privileges, you know, with all their patents and that, registered overseas in tax havens so that they do not have to pay into the US economy. Shame on these CEOs, shame on these companies, right? That the little middle average businessman, right? The LLC owner, the limo company owner, the florist, the hairdresser, everyone has to pay in the system. But these guys who are making billions and billions and billions and billions, Amazon had its records here, they're paying shit into the system. Jeff Bezos, shame on you. Dara K, shame on you. Logan Green, shame on you. John Zimmer, shame on you. What's the new guy that took over on Apple? Shame on you, right? That you go and seek privileges and exemptions from politicians. Google has an army of 30 lobbyists hustling out there so that they don't have to pay taxes. I say shame on you. The one clear thing we know about Uber is that they will do anything to try to exempt themselves from state regulations that make us all safer and their driver employees self-sufficient, she said in response to Monday's lawsuit. That's really good. In the meantime, Uber chief executives will continue to become billionaires. She nails it. While too many of their drivers are forced to sleep in their cars, right? Signed by California Governor Newsom in September, AB5 says workers can generally only be considered contractors if they perform duties outside the usual course of a company's business, right? Legal experts say the law weakens gig economy companies' arguments that their drivers are independent contractors and will make it much harder for them to continue denying California drivers benefits, including business expense reimbursements that would ordinarily be available to employees. This complaint is an attempt to dress up the company's political arguments against AB5 in constitutional clothing, Charlotte Gardner, professor at Seattle University School of Law, said in an email. The lawsuit is probably dead on arrival, she said. I agree, based on the court's recognition that legislative line drawing is inevitable and legislators have to be able to tackle problems piecemeal. Uber has acknowledged the higher hurdle AB5 poses for the company, but has said the law is no magic wand that changes gig workers' status on January the 1st. So you got our friend Tony West coming out saying, hey, we'll comply, we'll make all these changes. Remember that video of all the changes that they announced? Big fat lie, had no intentions to even become compliant. How do we know this? By their filing today. And my guess, Lyft is going to file as well tomorrow. Wakey says the tax system is broken. Amen. Thank you for saying that. They built their empire on the backs of drivers. And, you know, Amazon built their empire on the backs of Amazon Flex drivers and hardworking individuals there. Sure, they get salaries and everything, but their profits are not going back into the economy. Sorry, that's wrong, right? That's wrong. Genuine One says, don't all billion-dollar companies operate the same? Most of them do, right? But why do the top of the top echelon not pay into the system? Why are all the small companies, medium-sized companies, larger companies paying in when these guys have an army of lobbyists, schmooze and cozy, pay to Democrats and Republicans, go and register their patents offshore, and don't pay any taxes into our system, right? If some politician would tell me, hey, I'm going to come in 2020, I'm going to mix it up, I'm going to make Amazon pay, I'm going to make Apple pay, I'm going to make Google pay, I'm going to make Uber pay, you know how much money is going to filter into the system? That's an individual I would vote for, right? Timothy Newhall says, shame, shame, shame on you. I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to me or are you talking to someone else? David Moore says, wow, it's only about the money. Right. So I appreciate you being part of this. I just wanted to get this out. I wanted to be the first to announce this. Why? Because I called it, you know, less than 2 weeks ago. I said, they're going to sue the state of California. Go back, watch my videos. And I said, they're going to do it before year's end. So now the negotiations start, which I welcome. They will never, ever win this. They will never win on appeal, right? And they will be forced to sit down, right? This is all a negotiation process. What I dislike about the whole process is the big fat lie that Uber put out, circulated a few weeks ago, and they said, change is coming. These are all the things that we're going to do. They had zero intention. It was another big fat lie to all the drivers around the world, because it's not just California drivers that we're fighting for. We want these changes for everyone, right? And there was a big fat lie. It was a massive, massive lie, straight out of Derek Kay's mouth, straight out of Tony West's mouth, straight out of Logan Green's mouth. You had zero intentions of complying and offering us those changes, right? So here we are. Texas, my heart goes out to Texas. My heart goes out to New York, right? I have no time for domestic terrorism. I have no time for idiots going into a church with firearms. It's disgusting. It should end yesterday, right? More delays, Tim Olson. You're right. Patsy Skelton, what a year to have joined the Uber driver family. You know, this is, you join in the most testing year, Patsy. This is scary. I was looking for something fun to do. We're going to make it fun, and we're going to fight for that fun, my friend, Patsy. We're going to fight for the fun, right? They're not going to take the fun out of this job, right? Years and years ago, it was really, really fun, and we're going to fight back for that fun. That's my job, right? It's my job to bring the fun back into rideshare. Dan Gallagher says taxing big tech is Andrew Yang's platform. Well, Andrew Yang, deliver, baby. Deliver, baby. If you will give that to me in writing, and it's not just a fluffy promise, give it to me in writing and you may have my vote, right? You got to get these corporations to finally pay into the system. There is no excuse that Amazon once again made record billions of dollars and is not paying a single cent into the system. Do you know how powerful this economy would be if these guys would start paying up and not hiding their monies overseas, right? So the rich get richer, the wealthier get wealthier. The tax cuts were only there for the rich, right? And when you hear of the economy doing so well, guess what? That's the stock exchange and NASDAQ. It doesn't help the little guy. That doesn't help the guy in the Midwest or in Alabama or Mississippi. No, it doesn't. It helps the mega wealthy, nobody else. So this system right here is taking care of the mega wealthy. Why? Because they have an army of lobbyists. Google has 30 lobbyists paying these idiots, both Republicans and Democrats, paying both sides, right? Show me one authentic leader in the Republican or the Democratic Party that will actually deliver, that'll actually say, hey, I'm going to go after those big corporations and they're going to pay. No, they take campaign money from their lobbyists, bolster their campaign money with all this money from Apple, from Google, right? And then they give them favorable conditions that they do not have to pay taxes. It's disgusting. Dustin is driving. What's going on, Torsten? I'm getting really fired up here. Dustin, this news today of Uber Postmates suing California so that they don't have to be compliant, Dustin. But do you remember, you also made a video about this a few weeks ago. They said, hey, these changes were coming. The choice to decline, the choice to take whichever trip you want, the choice to choose the area that you wish to drive to. That was all a fluffy promise that's completely overshadowed now by this lawsuit filed today. My guess, Lyft tomorrow on the final day, putting $50 on it that they will do it. Timothy Newell says the tech companies cost me my taxi job because blah, blah, blah. Finish that sentence. That's a half a statement to me, right? Yeah. So we knew this was coming, but the way I believe it'll all go down is they have no chance, right? They have no chance winning this lawsuit. They will then file appeals, and they will not take a chance to lose on appeals. Because if they lose on appeals, they'll be paying so much money retroactively. It's going to be so harsh for them, right? So they're going to hash out a new gig economy law. Both sides want favorable condition. California wants to see money. The rest of the country wants to see some money from Uber. This is not a free ride or a free handout like Amazon is getting, right? Got to see the money. Show us the money, Uber. Show us the money, Postmates, right? And especially the drivers should be saying every day, show us the money, right? So I wish you, Dustin, your family, stay warm up there. Very, very happy new year to you. Let's rock 2020, my friends. Let's absolutely rock 2020, right? Rock 2020, rock 2020, right? We're going to put the fun back into rideshare. Dustin and I are going to put the fun back into rideshare, and we're going to fight for better conditions, right? Uber is a lot of drama. It is. And that's why the stock is not performing well, because people don't want to invest into drama. People don't want to invest into roller coaster rides. Show me an up, but don't show me an up and down. People are not interested. They're too fearful, right? So it's stuck there. I would say it's underneath the 30 mark, right? People say, oh, it's going to go up and up to 35, 36. BS. It'll stay underneath the 30 mark because they can't really promise you anything, right? It's the same old, same old. And when country after country folds, Germany folds, London folds, Colombia folds, what's the next to fold? What's the next to fold? Who's the next state to sue and say they want to see money? There are no certainties here. Uber is facing a Category 5 hurricane in 2020. They are going into a Category 5 hurricane, Uber, Lyft, and Postmates. Do you think that the public wants to invest into a Category 5 hurricane, right? Buy property right on the coast when they know Category 5 is barreling in? Oh, let's buy that property right in the line of Category 5 hurricane, whatever you want to call it, right? No, public's not stupid. Public's not going to support Uber and Lyft on this because it's a big fat risk. And you've got to ask yourself, folks, what did Travis Kalanick know that we don't know for offloading every single share he has and getting out, taking the parachute, cashing in on $2.8 billion, right? New York Mogul says they're doing the same shit over here in New Jersey. I'm going to okay that one. Circle the video, my friends. Let's connect with the public again and again and again. Let's keep on connecting with the public. That's the way we win this. In social media, connecting with the public. Go circulate Dustin's videos, go circulate my videos. More importantly, make your own videos. I want to see a video from Bill Sam on this. I want to see a video from Tim Olson on this. I want to see a video from Chinchilla X. How are you, by the way, Chinchilla X? I want to see a video from Honey Dolphin on this. I want to see a video from David Morse on this, who says we are united. I'm 100% behind you, David. We are united. New Year's Eve, no surge, no surge, no boost, no ride, right? Guys, we are going to bring the fun back into rideshare on our terms, and we're going to bring the money back into rideshare, right? We're pounding these guys. It's death by 1,000 cuts, my friends. We are just cutting, and they cannot keep up. And we're connecting with the public and holding up the mirror. Look at what these guys are doing. Look at what those guys are doing. Look at what Amazon is doing. They're not paying. We need competent leaders to come in who are not bought out by lobbyists, who not take company money for their Senate campaigns, for their House campaigns, that are not bought politicians, right? We need people that have got the balls, the platinum balls, to stand up to Amazon and these companies and say, pay into the system and don't go and seek sanctuary overseas on an offshore tax haven. I'm sorry. Doesn't work that way. We need some qualified politicians that are willing to stand up and fight, right? And I'm talking a whole bunch of incompetent Republicans and Democrats running the show right now, because no one has the goons, the fighting power, the platinum BALLS to take on these big boys. No one. No, but you give me some money here for my campaign. Campaign to this campaign. I'll take care of you. Just do it through my lobbyist. Do it. There's a restaurant. We'll fund the restaurant bill. You guys go and eat in Washington, D.C., fancy restaurant. Right? You guys go and eat there. Sort it out. We'll take care of you. Just make sure I get some money in my campaign. You make sure you wire money to my wife's nonprofit. Make sure you wire money to my niece's nonprofit, right? Here, politicians, grow some balls. Really? That's how you treat us, both Republicans and Democrats alike? That's how you sell us out, right? No, stand up against these corporations and start fighting, right? And that's why California has to stand up to Uber and fight and bang them over the head 100 times and bang Postmates over the head 100 times and bang Lyft over their heads 100 times, right? That they cannot be bought out and that they have to come up with some new law that does favor the state. And more importantly, because they said the AB5 bill was about protecting workers' rights, us drivers, right? So show us what you have, California. Bring us your best senators and your best legal advisors, your best fighters, your best House representatives, and fight for drivers, right? That's what you got to do, right? And to all those other politicians around the country, show some courage, please, in 2020. Show some, show some interest in the public, in the American citizens. Please show some interest, both Democrats and Republicans, that you've got our backs, right? Enough of this fake politics, enough of the backstabbing. I have never seen this country so divided, so far apart. You've got to have someone who is willing to take on corporations, who's willing to get money back into the system, right? Instead of it flowing out. We're loaning from China, we're in so much debt. We have the highest debt ever, right? We need, I don't care, Republicans and Democrats willing to take on big companies, and most importantly, to fight for the American citizens, right? We own them. We pay those tax dollars. We pay their salaries. We own them. We own every senator. We own every House representative. We own the president. Us. By the people, for the people, my friends. Never, ever forget that, right? So let's rock it, my friends. 2020, we're going to rock it. My commitment is bringing FUN back into the game. Fun. My commitment is show us the money for the house, our house in the middle of the street, our house. That is where ride sharers meet. We're going to stand up and fight, my friends, in 2020, right? We are, we're not going to get into the boxing fight and put on our pretty gloves. No, it's bare knuckles. Knock them out, flatty them on the side of the head here. Bare knuckles and flat hands. That's how we're going to take on these baboons, right? These idiots, Republicans and Democrats that think they can sell us out, can sell out, favor, cozy up to these corporations and not take care of the people around this country. I've had enough. And I've had enough of these parties dividing us, right? I'm looking for someone who has the ability to bring both sides together. That to me is what I came here for in the United States. I mean, I'm born American, but that's why I came back to this country, because I want to have Republican Democrats at the table. I want to have a dinner party, and I am not judging any single driver out there. None. I'm not judging any of you. You could be Democrat, you could be Green, you could be Republican. I am judging no one. What I am doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm judging both sides of politics, Republicans and Democrats, because no one out there has the iron, BALLS, to take on these corporations, to take on the Amazons, to take on the Bezos, to take on the Khashoggi, to take on the Zimmers, to take on the Greens, to take on the Apple and Google leaders, whoever they are, and say, pay into the system, right? There should not be lobbyists. There should only be 4-year terms. Why should a senator be in there for life? Why should a congressman be in there for life? Give them 4 years and get them the hell out. Get the next competent one in, right? And then if a competent person does things correctly, maybe they deserve another 4 years. But a lifetime of assholes, both Democrats and Republicans leading this country, putting money into their own accounts, into their own coffers, and not taking care of the people, I've had it. There you got it. Just spoke up. Said it as it is. Yeah, Tesla just delivered the first Chinese manufactured car today. And even to my fellow Elon Musk, South African, the money that you made on that Chinese sale makes your company a profit. Of those profits, pay taxes into the US system, right? If you are made in the United States, shipping out to China, and you're making a profit, those profits should come back into the United States. I am sick and tired of companies that are setting up their car plants here, their car plants over there, and trying to cheat the US system out of the taxes. We've had enough, right? Bring the money back in. Why is Uber have a big employ thousands of workers in India, thousands of workers in the Philippines? No, hire local, hire USA made. Put the money in here, right? So that's what I'm looking for, politicians that will start bringing the jobs back, that have got the BAALS to take on these corporations and demand tax dollars from them. And I'm looking for companies, I'm looking for politicians that'll take on these Postmates, that'll take on these Ubers, and that'll take on the Lyft and say, enough is enough. You've exploited these drivers enough. You have bled them. You have siphoned every droplet out of them. Now you pay. That's my job in 2020, folks. So I'm out of here. This was a super fun 40 minutes. I'm going to leave the article below. I hardly have a voice. I got way too fired up on this one, but all good. So Robin, keep those wonderful text messages coming. M. Sawyer, competent is the word. Bring us competent people. Bring us competent Democrats. Bring us competent Republicans, not politicians that are willing to sell out to lobbyists and companies. Bring competence back into the United States, right? And bring the people together, more importantly. So keep America great. The 2020 election is coming up. What you ask is being accomplished by Trump. It's not being, don't lie to yourself, my friend. It's not being accomplished by Trump, and it's not being accomplished by Democrats. Big fat lie, right? So good luck with that slogan. You're selling the lie, right? And so are the Democrats. We need a true leader, who cares about the Americans. And bring me a good Republican candidate, or bring me a good Democratic, someone that'll care. This guy that you just mentioned, I can tell you right now, doesn't care shit for the US. He just gave the wealthiest a handout, and he's still protecting the Amazons, and he's still protecting the big corporations so that they don't have to pay. So, you know what I mean? The money has to go to the farmers, to the workers, to the guys hustling out there, not the top 2% of the country. I'm sorry. So your slogan there, whoever you are, keep America great. You failed. You failed big time in my eyes, and so has every Democrat. Both sides have failed. I've seen no one of competence here. No one, right? I'm looking. Bring it to me, right? I'm not even getting. Call me. I'll have a private discussion with you. He has American companies returning to American soil. Name them. Name them, buddy. Name them. Go ahead, name them. Go ahead, name them. Both a lot of trash on the Republican side and a lot of trash on the Democratic side. There's no one at the moment with true leadership that truly cares about the people, that truly wants to take on the big boys. And that even goes for your guy there, Mr. Keep America, right? So keep your mouth shut unless you can't produce. I'm not interested if you're going to produce for the top 2%, right? I'm not interested that you made 25%, that the top billionaires made 25% more and farmers and other guys have to suffer, right? I'm not interested in that, right? This handout went to the super wealthy. Bring me a Republican, bring me a Democrat that has the message for the Americans and is willing to slap Uber across the face, is willing to slap Lyft, willing to slap Postmates, willing to slap Amazon. Show me that guy. Show me. Apple just spent billions to open American factories in Texas. And why are Apple's patents and all of that registered offshore where they're not paying taxes? So they may have, it's an American company. I would damn well hope so that they keep the company here in the United States and not abroad. That's no success for your boy. You just said he was bringing the jobs back. This is a company that's keeping American jobs, but they're not paying taxes. They may have created some jobs, but they're not paying taxes into the system, right? Dude, you got your politics up your arsehole, my friend. Seriously. Farmers are hurting. Farmers are hurting. Stop effing lying, right? Farmers are hurting, right? Go and speak to farmers. Have you spoken to farmers? Do you know what the trade war with China is doing to farmers? You have no clue. You have absolutely no clue. Farmers are hurting, right? Farmers will be big time in the voting booth come 2020. And the farmers are looking for a competent Republican or a competent Democrat. They're looking for competence in 2020. They're looking for someone that will look out for their agriculture, right? And not allow countries like China to destroy the soybean market, etc. You really need to tune in, Great America. You must be drinking the Kool-Aid. Sorry. Yeah, never argue politics with a man from South Africa. I will slap you across the face 20 times. I know what poverty in Africa means, right? What true poverty means, right? And I'll tell you something about politics on the African continent. Sadly, that's a bunch, again, of billionaires not paying into the medical system, not paying into the education system. They also all have their offshore Swiss bank accounts. The rich run it the same way. I'm looking for someone who is willing to fight for the people. Even it's in Africa, right? No, Thabo Mbeki does not fight for the people in South Africa. Mangosuthu Buthelezi does not fight for the common people in Africa. Zuma does not fight for the African people on the African continent, right? Cyril Ramaphosa does not fight for the... I understand politics, buddy. You want to argue with me? Politics all day long. Yeah, I'll flush them afterwards. I'll let them have their 20 cent, their 25 cents of enjoyment in my channel, right? And try and convince me on your little political story here, but you're going nowhere, right? You're just invading a live stream, selling the Kool-Aid and drinking the Kool-Aid. Bring me, like I said, bring me a competent Democrat or Republican. I don't care who it is. I don't care where you come from. I'm not questioning anyone in my room where you come from, whether you're Republican. I am talking about a competent leader who will fight and bring people together and care for people, right? And not put tax cuts for the super wealthy. Never put any money in my pocket. Never put any money in M. Sawyer's pocket. Never put money in M. Wakey's pocket. Didn't. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. I'm glad this is going to court. I'm super happy. Now they're forced to sit down and negotiate. Now we are ready for a good deal, right? So, I need to educate this arsehole, and then we're going to give him the flush. Keep America great. Do you know my past? Do you know my past in South Africa? Well, you better fucking read it up, my friend. Okay? I actually worked for the Mandela family for the Nelson Mandela's Children Foundation for 3 years. I brought over 5 million books to African kids and built 40 libraries. So you can shove your judgment apartheid up your arsehole until it chokes you. You have no idea what I have done for African people, right? I am colorblind. Everybody knows that. Whether you're African, Mexican, Chinese, American, I don't care. Everyone is welcome in our house. We have a visitor here who brands me an apartheid person. You don't know me. I suggest you reach out to Senator Rodney Ellis in Texas, right? One of your guys, right? And ask him who I am and what I've done for African people, and you'll swallow your words. You see, it's this trash talk and not researching, not doing any homework on me, who I've worked for in the last 20 years, and you come out and make these butthole statements, right? That you see, that's why I have no time for assholes like this. And because you went and judged me without doing research on who I am so far from the apartheid kid, right? In fact, I went to a party a few years ago where Martin Luther King's kids were, where Kanye West was, all African. I was the only white guy at the Lowe's Hotel in Santa Monica. And then the senator spoke up, one of the senators, and said, this guy is probably more African than all of you put together. And all the black people looked at, what? Yeah, you don't know who I am and what I've done in Africa. So therefore, I'm going to give you the royal flusher into the stinkiest sewage pipes, right? For judging me and not researching me. And shame on you, buddy. That's who you are, right? An uneducated fool running to judgment, not doing his work, not doing his research. Sad. Yep. Flush that little evil one out. Doesn't know me, you see. Past judgment, but didn't get to know me like all my subscribers did. Didn't get to hear my stories, my accomplishments, my contributions, right? And comes into this rooms and judges me as, and I'm not going to wear that label. I'm not going to wear that hat, because that's what I fought all the years in South Africa. I fought apartheid because my parents told me it was wrong, right? And it doesn't mean because you're a white person from South Africa that you're a bad person. It's not true, right? There's many, Elon Musk is not a racist, right? He just came to the United States to follow his dreams, right? As did many other million immigrants that came here. And your father's fathers and your father's fathers and your mother's mothers, they came here to build a dream, right? Because maybe they were oppressed, maybe they were living under atrocious conditions, wherever it was at the times, and they came here to fulfill their dreams. So did I. It doesn't make me an apartheid guy. And you get this guy wandering into my channel. I take that very serious, folks, because that's not who I am, right? But we will channel this energy into something good. We flushed him into the sewage pipes. We're going to channel this in. This is about drivers and drivers' conditions, drivers' pay, and bringing fun back into rideshare, right? We had to give the M. Sawyer, the troll doesn't deserve a word. We had to give him his little few minutes of glory, but then you cross the line. It's like me coming out and saying so-and-so is a pedophile. I don't even know them, right? I have no right to say that unless I have hardcore proof that they are, right? But to come out swinging and have some idiot here show up and say, oh, I'm hiding in America from apartheid? You don't know me. And I would highly suggest you email Senator Rodney Ellis and ask him if Torsten is remotely associated with apartheid. He'll tell you the story. He'll tell you what we accomplished in Africa. We got a lot of money into Africa and we did things. We actually built libraries, helped kids, got education going, where even their own local politicians failed them, right? Many countries' politicians fail their own people, right? There's only very, very few countries in the world where there are competent politicians taking care of their own people. I mean, I'd love to know those countries. Maybe it's Denmark, maybe it's Norway, maybe it's Iceland. Who knows? Maybe it's Puerto Rico. I don't know. But and I'm not gentle. When someone comes and makes false statements, I'll bang them. I'll bang them up. I'm not gentle on them, right? Lorenzo Davis, I think that's a good question to ask. So Lorenzo Davis says, but Professor, do you think that there's still white privilege going on in South Africa? Look, let me answer that question in the most honest fashion I can, right? They are a bunch of white people that feel that they are privileged in South Africa and they have their own little province, right? They live there, right? And they have never let go of apartheid, and they always thought that the African was an evil man, and they will live in that little world, in that screwed up world for the rest of their lives until their people, rot out. It's a tiny, small community left there of people that have white privileges. Then you got a lot of people that come in from other countries and say, hey, how can we make money here in Africa? How can we maybe exploit the system, right? Those are definitely many whites that don't have good intentions in Africa, right? But if you look at the economy, right, you have Chase Bank down there, you have McDonald's down there, you have everyone you can possibly think of on the African continent making money. They have business interests there, right? They have alliances with Nigeria on oil. They have alliances with South Africa on platinum, gold, uranium. It's all driven by economic interest, right? So you'll have Chinese, white, Indian, whatever nationality, I don't care. You come into Africa, you're trying to do business, right? There will always be a percentage of people trying to exploit the weaker person. Always. Goes for every country in the world, right? There will always be people taking advantage of other people, right? Because it's greed, ego, whatever you want to call it, right? Their programming, their parenting, their education is like take, don't give back, right? But then you have amazing people that come in there and do amazing programs throughout the African continent with good intentions, right? And again, it could be whites, could be Indians, could be blacks, could be anyone that come there with good intentions, right? So I'm not going to judge the African continent. I'm not going to judge North America, South Africa. We have the same set of competent and incompetent people in every single country. No change. And, I don't think highly of politicians in Africa because they take away from their people. They're not taking care of their own people. These leaders in South Africa from the ANC, African National Congress, not taking care of their own people, not taking care of the Zulus, not taking care of the Xhosas, not taking care of the Swahilis, not taking care of the Tswanas, not taking care of their own people, right? But putting that money in their offshore Swiss bank accounts. Say no more. I think I answered your question. So James Skidmore, Depeche Mode, people are people. Very true. People are people, so why should it be you and I together? All right, my friends. Took a tangent off on a little political escapade here, on a little political sidestep, but broke the news and glad this is happening. Now it's time for California and gig companies to sit down and hash out so that's a win-win-win situation. Win for the state, win for the drivers, win for the companies. Thank you, guys. Harwinder Singh, thank you for sharing that. He says, we also have a corrupt politician right now in India, right? And India is probably the second most populated country in the world after China, right? I think China has 1.3 billion citizens. India has 900 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, Harwinder Singh. And he just shares that their leader is also corrupt, right? So I hope you find a non-corrupt leader. I hope there is a politician in India that cares about the people in India, whether you're in Bangladesh, whether you're in Delhi, whether you're in Hyderabad, wherever you are in India. I hope that there is a competent Indian leader ready to take over from that corrupt individual. And I wish you nothing but the best in India, my friend. I really do. But stay focused on the story here, and that is to get a favorable outcome for drivers in California so we can duplicate that in New Mexico, Florida, Texas, right? Whatever happens here, we got to strive for a set of values and laws that's good for drivers, right? Like I said, it should be a win-win-win situation, right? And once we have that formula, we duplicate that formula in 2020. And yes, Mr. GS, I always remain focused. Happy New Year to everyone. Losing my voice, sorry about that. I'm going to try and come in with one more live feed tomorrow on the 31st, right? Jay Berlin says, hey, Rideshare, you're right, Uber needs to sit down and hear what, yeah, exactly, Jay Berlin. Drivers need to be part of these discussions now in courts. Look, if the plaintiffs that filed this lawsuit in California included a driver for Postmates and a driver for Uber. They said it there, right? The plaintiffs that filed today included drivers. Then you have all the right in the world to represent the other side, right? And if it means drivers and drivers hashing something out with the companies, so shall it be. Tim Olson, we're going to ring in a big bang tomorrow night. I truly hope everyone goes out there and puts a few hours in and makes money, makes cash tomorrow, right? And just cherry pick the very, very best paying trips for you. Don't settle for anything but cash tomorrow, my friends, right? So go out there and make money. You know, let the December the 31st, January the 1st be a day where you make more money than an entire average week, right? That's what I wish for you. Robin Reneth, ignorant trolls don't even know how to play good politics. Yeah, you can talk to them. You can talk to them. You can try and talk some sense into them. But if greed takes over, blinds everything. I appreciate you, Harwana Singh. I send you much love. I wish you a fantastic New Year's party with your family. If you're going out, you're working, you're playing, it's going to be the year of the GOAT. We are all the greatest of all time drivers, and we're going to stay positive. That's who we are. We're going to stay positive, and we're going to fight for better together. Gracias, amigos, muchachos, Tavolo Real in the house. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy that last day. It's your last day of 2019. Make it the very, very best day of 2019. Party like rock stars. Work hard. Play hard. And, 2020 is there, my friends. Remember, 20 years ago, people were scared about that millennial bug. Everything would fall apart. That was 20 years ago. Do you remember those times? 2000, the year 2000, when everybody was running around in fear that computers would be shut down and there would be no monies in the bank account. Everything's going to be zeroed out. People were making money selling fear, folks. That was 20 years ago, right? I remember that. Have an amazing season. Everyone out there had a Merry Christmas, whether you had a wonderful Hanukkah, a Kwanzaa. We're a family here, folks. We don't judge anyone by color or religion. We work together, we fight together, and we will march together in 2020. I love you all. I truly do. I appreciate you. I'm glad we gave the troll 20 seconds of fame, and then I had to flush him. I don't deserve that badge. That's not who I am. You know that. Adios. Thank you, guys. And now at the bottom of it says there's a little thing. It says the end stream. I don't like pressing that button end stream then because that means the live show is over. RM Zayas in the house. This is for you guys. Yeah. So the Phoenix, just to end that, my friends in Phoenix on January the 17th, made a video already. I think I put that in the queue. I've scheduled videos the next few days. But the Phoenix City Council and Uber and them could not reach an agreement, right? They said they would send you updates. You get to do pickups and drop-offs at Sky Harbor Airport until January the 17th, and then afterwards, Uber and Lyft are going to pull out. Again, tough negotiation tactics, right? Phoenix City Council cannot afford to piss off tens of thousands of drivers. They need their votes, right? So it's playing hard politics, right? My prediction on this is that it will not be shut down. Will not be shut down on January 17th. They will come to an agreement, right? Uber and Lyft will be willing to pay a lesser fee added on to the current fees. Phoenix City Council is shooting for the stars, asking for more. It's about the meeting of the minds, right? And the threat now that they've made public in the media, in the press, hey, January the 17th, we pull out, which puts a lot of pressure on the Phoenix Council. But again, that story is far from over. It's just like this. It's all a big, fat negotiation process. Understand that, right? And the more people can negotiate with each other, come together, we truly need that in politics. The more Republicans and Democrats can come together and negotiate in a peaceful way and find solutions moving forward in a peaceful way. Together, right? Operate together, work together, succeed together, thrive together, benefit together, live together, grow together. I mean, come on. That's the message I have for what year? For what year? 2020. 2020. That's our year, my friends. Give yourself a huge round of applause. Love you all. I'm out of here. My fiance has just arrived. They came back from the movie, finishing this just on time. Bye, my friends. I will chat to you tomorrow. Happy 2020. You too.